Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Madden 25 was hot garbage. We're getting right into this. Madden 26 wishlist here. Hit subscribe, hit like, keep up with us. Madden 25 was garbage. From gameplay to franchise mode, Madden 25 was a massive step in the wrong direction on multiple fronts. Thankfully, a lot of us, we had college football 25 to kind of hold down the fort for us for football season. But Madden 26 kind of needs to reestablish that it's a game that's worth buying, worth playing, worth even thinking about, because if not, I think a lot of us are just going to stick with the college football games, because it seems like they kind of understand what we want from multiple directions, from gameplay, features, modes, things like that. They kind of get what we want. And, you know, Madden finally has that competition that we've been begging for it to have. And, you know, a lot of us, some people thought it would maybe come from 2K. No, it's coming from inside their own house. It's coming from the college football team. And that means, you know, they have internal competition now. There's another game that they can be compared to. So, you know, Madden 25 was not a good step in that direction. So let's get right into this one. Number one on the list. Number one, slow doesn't equal sim. One of the biggest issues for Madden 25, I think a lot of people agreed with us when you picked up that game for the first time after a month of playing college football 25, was the gameplay was just slow and clunky. It just felt like you were playing a last-gen game, if we're being honest, which is kind of funny. The excuse for a lot of this was that people were just used to playing college football 25, which had, you know, faster, as they would say, a more arcadey gameplay style. I kind of disagree with this idea. Yes, the college game is more wide open, you know, but in college, there's a big gap between the athletes on good teams and bad teams and great teams, right? But in the NFL, that is compressed down to just 32 teams. For the most part, the best athletes in the league are on the field across all of these teams. So really, the game shouldn't really feel that slow. It should almost feel like as if, you know, in terms of athletic, in terms of, I think, player movement, it should really just not feel like that. And just because, you know, the NFL and not college, that doesn't mean that, you know, one of the big things I would say here is if you played Madden 25 and then college football 25, you know what I'm talking about, where you would get run down. Again, this has been an issue, I think, for years with Madden, strangely enough, where 85 speed linebackers will run down your 92, 93 speed receivers. And it's just something that just makes the game just feels bogged down and not fun to play at all, because we finally had a game that kind of showed us that, hey, EA football games kind of don't have to play like this. And, you know, that's just not fun. And, you know, personally, I have to feel like the reason that we have, you know, the slow, stuck in the mud gameplay is likely EA trying to appease to maybe comp players or something. That's the only thing I can think of. You know, and I'll say this, and I know I don't speak for everyone who buys Madden, but I feel very good about saying this, and I think a lot of you are going to agree with me. Not that many people, I don't want to say nobody cares about competitive Madden. I think there's a decent amount of people that do, but I just don't think it's this massive of enough amount of people that it warrants, I think, kind of ruining the entire game for everyone else. I think everybody wants a game that's just, you know, fun, kind of fast paced, and just, you know, kind of just fun to play, right? I think that at the very least, we just want a game that's fun to play. We know you're not going to make a, you know, true to life simulation game, even though that's in your contract for the rights. We know that's not what you're making. So why are we even like pretending to do that? You know, that's not why the game plays as slow as it did. It plays that slow, I think, really because that's kind of what the competitive crowd wants. I don't think the head-to-head crowd wants this. I don't think MUT players want this. Franchise players don't want this. This is like EA trying to appease to 1,000 comp players. You know, I'm sorry, you know, tough break for these guys. More people want a faster paced game. We just do. We want something that's actually fun to play. Madden 26, we cannot have the slow, clunky-ass gameplay that we had this past year. It just can't happen. This game's going to lose even more market share to college football 25 than it already did this past year. Number two, fix the blocking logic already. I feel like I talk about this every year when I put together one of these lists, it's because every year, slowly with each patch, it feels like blocking logic gets worse. Truthfully, it's really impressive that EA takes something that's already broken and decides to look at it and say, yeah, this already isn't really that good, but let's somehow make it worse. And just too many times you'll have blockers just not block anyone. They'll just not even touch a guy, and there's no reason for them not to touch them. Not even get a hand on them. Lead blockers on running plays will not block anyone. If they do block someone, they go and block a guy another level up as opposed to just blocking the guy right in front of them. That's just, what are we doing here? I don't get how this is something that was figured out on the PS2 and PS3 era of games, and somehow since like the switch to the PS4, and now many years into the PS5, this has gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. I don't get that. It really doesn't make any sense. Somehow, since hiring a former NFL player who was an offensive lineman, blocking in the Madden NFL football game has somehow gotten worse. Go figure. Number 3, more than just drags and crossers. If you played Madden 25 and you know that for the most part on offense when you're passing the ball, unless your guy just wins his one-on-one and they're playing like press man coverage, what you're going to do in this game when you're passing the ball is to call drags and crossers. Drags and crossers, drags and crossers, drags and crossers, drags and crossers. Sometimes an in route, but even that's a little risky more than that. So it's just drag, crossers, hope that, you have someone kind of open in the slot and you're able to take advantage of it. Rinse and repeat. Meanwhile, in College Football 25, you can basically use just about every single route concept in your offense. Will you have success bombing it deep every play? No, of course not. But you can do all sorts of things in College Football 25 from an offensive standpoint that just makes the game fun to play. You can work the middle of the field, you can work the sidelines, you can work underneath, over top, whatever. You can do it all. If you have the players, you make the right reads, you can do it all. Madden 25 is just really not like that. It's just drags and crossers, drags and crossers, drags and crossers. I mean, this isn't RuPaul here, okay? This is football. Like, what are we doing here? So that's something I really want to see worked on in Madden 26. Can't be drags and crossers like Madden 25 was. Just can't have it. Number 4, can edge rushers make a difference? In Madden 25, 24, 23, and 22, and really beyond, really since the next gen, it feels like edge rushers are kind of worthless. User edge rushers. I don't mean like as in when you are using them. You can probably choose the game and pile up sacks that way, but that's not fun. It really just feels like these players can't ever be like really the game wreckers that you kind of see them be in real life, right? Max Crosby, Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, just to name a few guys who can completely wreck a team's day. And it might not even be about getting a sack. It's just the ability to create pressure, right? Just the ability to kind of hurry up a quarterback, things like that. Because I feel like those are things you could really just do in Madden. Honestly, my Madden team builder franchise, my past few rebuilds, I've been more focused on getting defensive ends in a 3-4 defense, defensive ends and defensive tackles. Because it feels like you're able to get pressure up the middle more than you can off the edge. For whatever reason, guys just get thrown out way too far to really have an impact. And they just don't win enough or push their guys back enough to be worthwhile. So honestly, it feels like this is a position, edge rushers, where it's not even worth spending money on them. You're better off just getting defensive tackles. So I don't know, maybe it's just you just need RNG insta sheds. I feel like that position should not be that. It should be something, a little more based on like football, but that's just me. Number 5, can we have a bigger gap in the ratings from bad to decent teams, to decent to good teams, to good to great teams? One of the most annoying things about Madden 25 franchise was that the team ratings were so really just stacked on top of each other, just layered on top of each other, really close, not a lot of gaps in between them. The haves and have-nots of the league weren't really just properly shown in the game. It felt like every team kind of hovered and operated in the same space, which we know just isn't really true for the NFL. The Giants are a mess. The Titans are a mess. Yet, if you were to take over those teams in Madden franchise mode and you were like just decent at the game, you could probably take those teams to the edge of getting to the Super Bowl in your first year. With those rosters the way they are, you can then take them, make some minimum changes, and in free agency and the draft, and probably good chance you'd probably win the Super Bowl in year 2 of your franchise. What a rags to riches story that is. I mean, come on, that just isn't true to life. It's just not. I mean, sometimes you can do that, injuries, things like that, but we're talking about just from the pure roster standpoint. You can take a 78 overall team, which I think might have been like the lowest rated we had in Madden 25 with, I think, the Raiders. You could take them and pretty much probably win the AFC West pretty easily. Madden 26 needs to take a bigger swing at this and at actually having a ratings gap between good and great teams. It's just something that needs to happen for Madden 26. And number 6 on this list, can the said ratings that I just mentioned before, can they actually matter in the game? Another issue for Madden 25 was the fact that certain ratings just actually didn't matter for gameplay. Sim Gaming Network did a great breakdown on how quarterback ratings actually don't matter when you're playing the game. Let's circle back to the number 1 issue on this list, and I mentioned how, the reason given for why this game played so slow and clunky. It's because this was the sim game. This was the more realistic game compared to the arcadey, fast open gameplay of College Football 25. But at the same time, in Madden 25, you could take the Chiefs, insert Jaron Hall as your starting quarterback, and you really wouldn't notice a drop-off in their play outside of the actual abilities. But in that so-called super arcadey, unrealistic College Football 25 game, you would notice an immediate difference if you went from using, I don't know, Arch Manning or, Quinn Ewers or one of the top quarterbacks in the draft, like Cam Ward. If you were to go from using a quarterback like that, slot in some backup from Northern Illinois, you would notice an immediate difference in what you were able to actually go out on the field and do. You wouldn't be able to do the same things. You would have to play very differently. Funny how that works, huh? And it's not just quarterbacks. People have done all sorts of testing on different positions over the past, 5-6 years and just shown time and time again, certain ratings just don't make that much of a difference and really have little to do with just anything about these positions. I think there's a couple blocking ratings that actually really don't do anything. There's a few blocking ratings that are more important than all of them, which just doesn't make any sense. All of these ratings are in the game. They should all do something. And so that's number 6 on the list. Now we have one last thing that I want to get to, and this is kind of an odd one, but we're going to get to it real quick here. Number 7, whatever the hell this is here on my screen, I decided to go load up my Jacksonville Jaguars Dynasty save, take a look at it real quick, and one of the things I noticed is the score bug, or otherwise known as a scoreboard. Technically it is a score bug, but we'll call it scoreboard for some of you out there. It's not the Jacksonville Jaguars logo. It's like some logo that I had set for my profile on one of the recent Madden updates, which I'm a Packers fan, so I set it to, the Packers. Well, that basically breaks the score bug here in the game, and it kind of overwrites franchise, and so you end up with not the Jacksonville Jaguars logo. I believe I was watching Bengals Steelers rebuild, and he just had a NFL logo. So whatever the home team is, you get this logo, or you'll just get a plain NFL logo or something like that. I don't really understand what the thought process behind this was. I guess they thought someone would think this was cool. I don't know who would think this is cool. I think all of us just kind of look at it. If I'd be really pissed if I was still playing Madden. I'm not, but this is one of the just dumbest fucking things I have seen in a long time. And we're talking about Electronic Arts here, so they do a lot of stupid shit from time to time. This is just one of the dumbest things. This seems like this should be easy to fix, to just have it set so it just does this in Ultimate Team. Why the hell would I want this done in franchise mode? It's just, I'm sure there's some setting I can go and click to fix this, but I shouldn't have to fix anything. I'm in franchise mode. I'm using the Jaguars. Why the fuck would I want some random other logo showing up here. That's not the team that I'm using's fucking logo. I don't get that. That's just, again, just one. And apparently you can like buy these and like the field season pass thing. Who would buy this? Who's buying these? There's no one out there buying this stuff. Like, I don't get that. I know that you guys, you know, I'm talking to EA here. I know you guys like had a rough earnings situation because, you know, Ultimate Team spending is starting to actually slow down, probably because more people are, you know, becoming degenerate gamblers. But I don't think this is going to make up for that money lost out on from people not playing as much Ultimate Team and opening up as many packs. Yeah, it's just not going to be a thing. I think that happens. I don't think you're going to replace one thing with that there. So that's just something I wanted to touch on. I really hope we don't see whatever this is on the scoreboard or bug in Madden 26. Just wanted to address that. And so there's my list. What do you guys think about it? I'm going to get out of here now. If you want to know about things that I think should be in Madden 26 franchise mode, click the video right here on the screen. That should pop up here on an annotation as I'm doing the outro for this video. Go check that one out. I have a full Madden 26 franchise wish list. A lot of things on there about that I want to see in franchise that, you know, we didn't see in franchise this year, there's a lot of things we want to see. Because franchise kind of got nothing this past year except more like really bad press conference things that take too long to load. So, see you in the next one. Later. Peace.